Hello everyone, I'm Rajeshri. A very warm welcome to you all in today's episode and a huge thanks for being with me in this experimental journey of art. Today, as the title suggests, it is not about a particular composer and his works. As I have mentioned many a times in my previous episodes, that Claude Debussy, the French composer, is one of my favorite composers among others. And the reason being, his music reflects realism. It has got the element of dissonance in it, which always tells me that it reflects our everyday life. The joy, the sorrow, the pain, happiness, everything together. A well-constructed, highly melodious tune does not reflect the current situation of the world. And that is why a melodious tune does not satisfy me completely. And when I compose, I always think of in a holistic way the what's happening in the world. I cannot forget that being a musician, when I sit down in my little studio and try and compose a little piece of music, it might be the same desire of a musician sitting in Gaza, or two musicians talking about creating a piece of music, sitting in their lounge in another part of the world, and they might get bombed any time. That is the reality of today's world. And their tension, their stress, their unrest needs to be reflected in music. Because to any musician, music is a part of their life. And when I think of that, Debussy comes to my mind. And just like that, I was trying to find out who inspired Debussy and his music, and the cross-pollination happened. I had to travel to Russia. Because the composer named Modest Mussorgsky is the one who inspired Debussy to break the traditional way of making music. They have got a lot of commonalities. And even before Debussy got influenced and exposed to Mussorgsky's music, he had been to Russia. And then he was exposed to Glinka's music, who inspired Mussorgsky as well. But what are the commonalities between these two composers? The most important one is Mussorgsky realized that instead of emphasizing on melody, he started a unique style. In his music, he tried to reflect human speech. In his music, the unrest at that time in Russia was very much reflected. So he broke the traditional way of composing music, and he not only changed the melody and the harmony bits of music, he started vocal writing. Hence, for his opera, he chose a different kind of text. And in his music, the music followed the drama of the text, not the text tried to fit into the music, which happened previously. So his opera, Boris Godunov, inspired Debussy, and Debussy created one of his very, very popular operas, Pelléas et Mélisande, which has got loads of similarities with Boris Godunov. In Debussy's opera, for the first time, there was no overture or arias. They wanted to express realism. They wanted to bring realism. And if we think about the socio-political environment at that time, Europe slid into war right after that. And Bolshevik revolution did happen in 1917, 35 years after Mussorgsky's death. But Mussorgsky's music had that nationalistic view within it, which Bolsheviks kind of used in their ideology. So their music brought a revolution in the world of art. There is no doubt about that. And in future, that inspired the socio-political environment of these two countries, Russia and France. Coming to the next point, Mussorgsky's music always had an inclination towards Russian folk songs. So he wanted to come out from the traditional Western classical music, and he wanted Russian, the soul of his music should be soaked in Russian folk tunes. So it would have a Western classical music structure to some extent, because if we look at his scherzo, that has got similarities with Beethoven's 4th and 9th Symphony. His composition, the nursery, has got a lot of similarities with Schumann's Carnival. So he did not ignore the great German composers, but he wanted Russian folk tunes should be at the center of his music. So the non-Western influence was there. And same with Debussy. Debussy got inspired by Javanese gamelan music, again bringing non-Western music and mixed it with the French melody and harmony. And Mussorgsky and Debussy both actually formed an unique style of harmony as well. Especially that in Mussorgsky's harmonic style, he didn't try to fit that with the melody. Rather, he kept it as it sounds. And Debussy followed the same. So these two composers brought a silent revolution. As we know, and I did mention in my episode which I did on Debussy, that in the latter half of 19th century, there was a revolution in the whole world of art. Mallarmé took almost the charge of changing the literature, the poetic world. On the other side, Monet, Renoir, they brought the revolution in the world of painting. Impressionism was born. But neither Debussy and by whom he got inspired, Mussorgsky, did not follow Impressionism. It was very much Expressionism. Mussorgsky's work had children, had beggars, had the darker side of the society. And Debussy followed the same. So it was realism with Expressionism. To give tribute to these both composers, today in the musical section, I created a piece of music. This particular piece did not follow any of their styles particularly, but it has got a folk element in it. It has got a bit of dissonance. It was reflecting a conversation, as if two musicians or two people were just sitting and talking. As I said, maybe two musicians sitting in their studio in one of the very troubled part of this world. They don't know whether they'll be able to finish or complete creating their music before they get bombed or something sinister might have happened. So it's a music which reflects reality. It's a music which reflects the current world. It's a music of reflecting the human voices. But that doesn't mean it does not have a melody, because I always think our life is a combination of melody and harmony. And that harmony has to have some dissonance. Otherwise, it's not, the music is not complete. It won't do justice expressing our real life. So, on that note, I will play the little piece which I have created, and I hope we all will enjoy it together. Just before I start, I will read out one single sentence which Mussorgsky said about his music, because that man had a very short life. He died in alcoholism. He was born in 1839 and he left us in the year 1881, leaving his, giving us his great compositions like Pictures at the Exhibition, Songs and Dances of Death, The Nursery, and many others. So I think I'll just read out one sentence which would reflect my composition as well. Mussorgsky railed against tradition, having his music in order to make it, in his words, an artistic reproduction of human speech in all its finest shades. So today's music will explore those shades. But as Russian original folk tune was the soul of his music, being born as an Indian, my piece of music will definitely have the touch of Indian folk tunes within it. Thank you very much for listening, and let us enjoy the little piece of music together. Thank you. thank you for listening. Wishing you all a wonderful festive time, and I'll see you all next year. Have a great Christmas and a very happy New Year. Thank you.